I was still thinking, if they would have just actually lit PETA on fire. Like,
it's just the Hunger Games catching PETA on fire.
Catching PETA on fire. My opinion hasn't improved.
See, but I haven't seen the rest of them, so my opinion of PETA is not as tainted as yours.
All right.
Sure.
Well, I guess I can't ruin it by lighting PETA on fire then. Fine. I won't redo the Hunger Games.
You know what, Steve? I'll allow it. Burn him. Burn him.
Fuck PETA.
That's the last thing I want to do.
Oh, no, I mean... That's not what I mean. No one wants to fuck PETA. Not even Katniss.
Catnip's ever peen.
She only does it reluctantly.
Well, it's under threat of death. It's the only way anybody would have sex
Either
with
have
PETA.
sex with this man, child, I guess you could
And
call
meanwhile,
him.
the whole time, PETA's like, I've got some game. I've been working on her. It's working. It's meanwhile, someone's gun to her head. You better go sleep with that boy.
I finally scored Katniss. I'm so happy. Meanwhile, you better kiss that boy.
You better kiss him.
If you notice, you don't have to convince PETA to kiss Katniss.
Yeah.
But you do have to convince Katniss to kiss PETA.
Whoa.
Let's go.
Whoa. Hang on, I'm itching
Now
my
or
eyebrow.
never. Everybody itch their eyebrows.
You can start whenever you want. I'm not allowed to talk till after the intro.
Well, since Michael's being silent, welcome to the 75th annual Quarter Quell of the Every Film in the Hunger Games book.
I'm talking now. That was fucking stupid.
What? We got to go big. We got to go big. It's the Quarter Quell.
Quarter Quell.
What? Do you not want to celebrate?
I do want to celebrate.
God, you guys would not last one day in the Capitol.
But yes, welcome to the 75th episode of Every Film in the Book, which is also conveniently
that we did on purpose.
totally on purpose.
Let the record show it was totally on purpose.
This year is the 75th annual Hunger Games, which is the Quarter Quell. You have to say it like that.
The Quarter Quell.
Quarter Quell.
Well, yeah. I mean, dude, like, I wish we got more time in there just to see how crazy they could have made. Like every 25 years, apparently they just go freaking nuts.
They just make up new rules.
They're just like, oh yeah, pre-existing victors can go in.
Well,
now we're reaping the parents. Like, why not?
Because this is the second Hunger Games we've seen.
Right.
They kind of just do whatever they want the whole time.
Yeah.
From the two we've been shown, they don't adhere to rules.
Yeah.
So you're saying the dictatorship doesn't play fairly?
He is a president.
We're not supposed to. We're not supposed to say that, Steve.
He's President Snow. He's not a dictator. He's President
I feel
Snow.
like that's like you give someone that title when you want them to think it's not a dictatorship.
Right,
What do they call that? A puppet government? Well, that would be
Yeah.
somebody different. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'm stupid.
That's more like the English government. Dun, dun, dun.
But I will say on that point, it does seem like the Hunger Games is supposed to, which, again, I haven't read the books, so someone's going to probably correct me. It seems like the Hunger Games happened
Right.
after, obviously they say it happens after this war, but it seems like that has changed how the government is structured.
Right.
And that it was maybe once a democracy with a president, and then it just kind of turned into this president overruling everything sort
Man,
of government.
If only they had like a prequel that could have explained.
Oh, do they?
No,
do have-
they did. Well, they do have a prequel.
Wait,
it doesn't explain.
It doesn't explain
shit.
It doesn't explain how they got to where they are.
No, because
Really?
it starts at the 10th Hunger Games.
It doesn't start at the first Hunger Games. It should start at the first Hunger Games.
Like, what is the point of doing the prequel?
Well, the prequel should have been the war that
Yes.
the
Yes.
uprising.
Yeah.
Also, President Snow was like 4
yeah,
when it happened.
right. No,
So
and that's all you get.
And for me, because I've never seen this before, it's kind of weird that they made him an older guy.
right.
So it kind of seemed, well, I mean, it does give way to the fact like everything's been decent up until these two. That's why we're getting the movies.
Right.
But like,
Well,
nothing-
decent's a strong word.
it's decent. It's like, all right, a little
There
more
hasn't
death.
been an uprising, basically.
Yeah, basically there hasn't been an uprising, and it's kind of looking like there might be.
You think?
I don't know. I feel
You
like
think
that's
that's
why they
what's
made the
catching
films.
fire?
It might be. I don't know. There's some certain flashes and some imagery that just
Yeah.
points you in the direction of rebellion. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think they were on the nose with catching fire.
Yeah.
For the record,
yes.
I would be in the Capitol
Mm-hmm.
killing everybody. Yeah, I'm on the Capitol side for most of this stuff.
Wait, you're on the Capitol
what?
side?
Yeah, 100%.
Or are you just like a sleeper agent? Like you come in last minute,
No,
take
Well-
out snow?
nothing would have caught fire if I was in the Capitol. I'm just being honest. Follow the rules. Everybody gets to eat. You want to stop eating? We can go around shooting people.
Well, Michael's okay with slaps, but besides that,
Okay, well maybe don't say that.
We're gonna put that on me in the first 5
well,
minutes of the
you-
episode.
You just showed your cards, man.
Yeah, and my cards have guns behind them.
All right.
Yeah, and also goofy eyelashes.
I didn't bring my gold eyeliner, which I did think about, but I have no idea where to get eyeliner or gold eyeliner.
The Capitol are us.
I called Lenny, and he wouldn't hook me up. Mr. Kravitz to you.
Well, Cinna, he's got this thing with Katniss. You can't get in on that. You got to find your own stylist. That's what I've always heard.
I do need a stylist.
But yes, this is Catching Fire, the sequel to Hunger Games, and I gotta be honest, I think this one might be my favorite in the series, just because I like I like the victory tour before they even go into the Hunger Games, and then I like the twist, even though it's not really a twist because they literally show you on the cover that they're gonna be in the Hunger Games, but like that kind of transition into that.
Yeah.
And like they really do start kind of building the world around this, where like you're seeing the other districts. And I think in the last episode when we talked about this, I wasn't sure of like the structure of the cities. I don't think this one helped anymore. Like figure that out.
No, for me, never seeing any of this. The third and fourth one are like part 1 and part 2.
Right.
I think they could have done Catching Fire as part 1 and part 2 and done part 1 of like way more about the tour.
Yeah,
because
actually.
they visited basically related to America. It's like they went to 12 different states
Right.
to visit and give speeches and do things like that. And we saw about like none of a lot of them.
Yeah.
It would have been
breezed through
cool
it.
to actually see. Now it's a lot more work. There would have had to been different writing. There's like 10 more sets. Like I get it. It would have been harder to do, but I like that kind of world building, and it would have been nice because we know that District 12 is mining.
Yeah.
And we know like some other people like grow a lot of food, like do all the wheat,
Right,
and
right.
things like that. It would have been cool to see what the Capitol considered necessary for them to live there.
Yeah,
like
because
in my head I go, so they've got 12 things. They have 12 things in the
There
Capitol.
are 12 elements.
And that's why
wheat, coal.
No, but like
Fish.
6 of them have to be fabric.
Yeah.
And, like it has to be like 3
Oh, sure.
fabric and 3 makeup, and then
Yeah.
or 2 makeup and 1 prosthetic like headgear and shit. Like
Just a whole district is just wigs.
it's,
I was
yeah,
just gonna
that's what I mean. Like
Wig making.
that takes some serious manpower to do that. Things like we know like the Super Bowl halftime show. They always tell you how much it cost and how many people had to work on it, and it's like that's like a 25-minute intermission for a game.
Yeah.
It's like
Seriously.
their
It's like
whole
that's
city,
their whole lives.
their whole city is the Super Bowl halftime show.
Right.
And for my brain, it would have been cool to see what the Capitol felt they needed to produce in order to have that lavish lifestyle.
Yeah, I will say that they
But
don't.
I'm also a super fucking nerd, so fuck me.
They seem to give you just snippets of a lot of them, but I feel like the higher districts, like 1 through 4, like the top ones, would be those like a little bit more bougie, frivolous things. Almost.
Oh yeah, they're kissing the Capitol's ass.
Yeah,
in
like I
1
know
and 2.
District 1 is like fighting, like they're like the soldiers or
yeah,
whatever.
1 and 2 are like
Because
the
they're the ones that train.
train.
They train, and
They're
then
military.
they're the ones that go. They like.
they
train 2
volunteer when
people
they're
and they
18.
volunteer.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that also serves as like they're moving on to be military.
right. Yeah,
Um,
and again, like I'll actually agree with you. It would
Hey!
have been not
Oh, mark it down, people. Steve agrees with me.
like not that
First
I
time
want
ever.
Right?
not that I want 5 Hunger Games movies. But if they did break this one up into part 1, part 2,
You would have watched it.
I
You
actually
would've
would have
watched it. Yeah, you
like,
would've.
The Victory Tour could have taken up a whole movie, and then the ending could have been that cliffhanger
Well,
of, the reaping this year will be of past victors, and then you cut to black.
I just gotta say, you just said you don't want 500 Hunger Games movies. There are 5 Hunger Games movies with the prequel.
There's 4 Hunger Games movies and a prequel.
It's
Go.
5.
Whatever. Fine.
Sorry.
There's now 6 Hunger Games movies.
It would have been nice to see more of the world,
Right.
because like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. Like, so Panem's an island, or like
We don't know.
Africa is the only thing that survived this world, whatever,
Right.
and they're all by themselves, or there are other countries, things like that. But that's stuff I think about.
I
'cause
always
I'm
take it as like
a
it's America just based on like their
yeah,
dialects
They
and
do
everything.
reveal that in the Ballad of whatever, Songbirds and Snakes, that it is just post-apocalypse America. Like it's like some of the districts are in like the west, some are in
Okay.
the east, and that's why everything's like moved by train. Now the movie I don't think really explains that to
Right.
you.
yeah.
But
The book might. Go
Yeah,
into it
a lot
more.
of this is just
Well, I just happen to be Googling, and the book says this.
so
Yeah.
Right.
like take it
And
with a grain of salt.
Just to clarify something here,
yeah,
the one district is just all black people, right?
from what they showed
Yeah.
us,
Yeah. And then the capital is a huge melting pot
Right.
of people. That confused me a little bit,
Yeah, it almost.
because that I was like, wait, what? But there's been
Yeah.
everybody's in the capital. And it doesn't seem to matter. Like, race isn't something that
Yeah.
plays a point. And then they put something like that in there where my brain goes, well, they're only allowed to be here. And
Well-
everybody in the capital all seem to be from all over the place.
Yeah, I feel like they're very clearly making a statement on the wealthy versus poor. And if you look at how the world tends to operate, if you have money, it doesn't really matter what you look like. But if you're poor, they try to segregate you. So I feel like that's what they're doing with the districts
Right.
is
Yeah, that
they
makes
are segregating who they want. But if you happen to have enough family money to be at a certain wealth level, then you get into the capital, and it doesn't really matter because you have money.
Yeah, but it does.
It was
kinda make,
it was odd. It was
yeah,
odd
that they would kind
would
of like draw attention to that, but
Yeah.
it's like Danielle was saying, this movie isn't like really about race. It's more of the haves and the have-nots.
So
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
With the haves and the have-nots, I was just like, well, they put a very specific group of have-nots in this one district and then gave it zero explanation and then
Right.
showed all kinds of everybody in the capital. Although there's a lot of face paint, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Right.
But
I do think they expect you to kind of think about these things on your own and draw what you want from them.
yeah, because I didn't even think about that because my brain is just are like, since I've seen it so many times, it's just steered to the haves and the have-nots. Like I didn't even take into account. So it's kind of cool to hear that side.
Yeah,
of it too.
I was just like, wait, there's a huge melting pot in the Capitol. It doesn't seem to matter. It's
there's
what
cheetah people in the Capitol.
Right.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. it gets a little wild, and it seems to be more what's on the outside than what your skin is. Right. And then for the districts, it was like, oh, this one, okay, all right, guys.
Yeah.
It's just a weird, observation. I was just like, they didn't make a big deal out of it at all.
Yeah.
But it was very, very clear.
Right.
I think that's most of this movie, obviously, because this is the movie to set up what will be, the
big finale
revolution.
Yeah.
You could say. I'm really, really struggling to not talk about how this movie.
Yeah, like how it leads into the next ones.
Because I've definitely seen them all through many times.
Yeah. Well, I do want to draw attention to when they, the whole movie kicks off with this Victor's tour, and ordinarily this is supposed to be like, the Victor's like time to be celebrated, and they just live lavishly from here on out. But like when Snow goes to meet with Katniss in the beginning there, and he reminds me so much of like a James Bond villain, where there's a mutual respect between hero and villain.
I liked that.
Yeah.
And then even the correction of like, we said we weren't going to lie to each other.
Right.
Let's not do that. We're above commonplace bickering. It's like, let's be professional about this.
And he can also very much tell when she's lying.
Yeah,
because he's one of those people, I'm sure, that like can read.
Oh, he
wouldn't be in that
language.
Position of power unless he could
that's actually
manipulate
a really good point.
People to follow him. So
but like
he's got it down.
When she brings up to him, she's like, well, to quell the revolution, why don't you just kill me? Like, get rid of the Mockingjay. And he's like, no, that'll just create a martyr, and that'll be even more of a reason to rebel. So
he also says that he kills for a reason.
Right.
And he's like, I don't have a reason to kill you right now.
Right. So I'm like,
the rest of the movie is spent giving him a reason to murder her.
Oh, my God. But yeah, just like the whole, like, when you're on this tour, you better be grateful. You better be, like, convincing. You better be ready to give it all up for love.
It wasn't... He wasn't asking that much.
He really wasn't.
Okay? Because in that type of society, it seemed perfectly fine to, be married and have a little side action.
Right.
So it could have...
Seemed welcome, almost.
And in my brain, I go, just pretend with dude on camera, and then have your fun 364 days out of the year.
Right.
Really? You're telling me you can't,
like, you can't act like a married couple for a month.
Come on, and
like leading up to the Hunger Games.
So just with the mechanic of it, this tour, they only had to do this once because they won the last one. So this would have been their only tour they had to go.
Tour.
So they would have only had to pretend for TV appearances and during
and every
that
time
week.
the Hunger Games came up, they would have to, make appearances. They would have to be mentors. So they would have to...
But only while it was going on.
They're basically celebrities at this point, but it's like if you just had a movie come out, you're going to be doing interviews. Later down the line, you might come out again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is the press tour, and then obviously they flip the script on them.
Yeah.
But so that's just a mechanic of it. Like, if they could have got through this...
Right.
They could have had pretty...
Yeah, and that's what Haymitch tries to tell her. Like, when they get to District 11 and she makes that big speech about Rue, and, the old guy puts up the Mockingjay symbol and they shoot him. That's what Haymitch tries to tell her. Like, you never get off the train. Like, once a year, you're going to have to be madly in love.
You never get off.
Yeah, but he's like... And she's like, well, how do I get through this? He's like, you just smile, you be happy, and then you go home and you get to live.
And for the record,
you have to do.
I'd have done it. I'd have done it.
I mean, granted, my feelings towards Peter, so like I would have a hard time too.
No, I would have sex with him for like money, fame, and power, and you want to inconvenience me.
Well,
yeah, okay.
So this is kind of for me where Katniss loses a little bit of, like, her character loses the focus, because she in the last one was basically just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And then in this one, she kind of is trying to protect PETA, but she's also looking out for herself and for her family. But she doesn't really seem to be wanting to be this like leader of a rebellion or anything.
The woe is me,
Yeah.
the leader of something I never asked for, which has never happened in a film ever.
Yeah, what is it?
Yeah.
The heavy lies the crown.
That made me
Yeah.
puke a
Yeah.
little bit because I'm just like, come on, lady. Nobody ever asks for it. That's why they make movies about
I
it.
didn't ask for
It's
that.
like, what is
Right.
it? Greatness is thrust upon us,
Yeah.
whether we want it or not.
Yeah. Me, my whole life. I get it.
But that is a good critique because she does kind of get a little like, I don't know what to do. It's like you were so confident in the last one and you had such a clear head about like
Yeah.
what you wanted.
Yeah, it seems like she loses that, and I think part of it is because of the PTSD, and
Oh,
of course
yeah.
she's going through stuff.
Get over
I
it.
mean, if I
Just deal with it.
Get over
if I
it.
shot Jack Quaid, I'd be pretty torn up too.
But yeah, I think we'll kind of get to where they're going with this character. I feel like more towards the very last movie.
I think by the end of Mockingjay Part 1, they pretty much solidify her role. And then, anyway, I'm not going to talk about I can't talk about that.
I feel like she kind of like is wishy-washy.
Yeah.
She's wishy-washy in
and
this one for sure.
It kind of pissed me off.
Yeah, a little bit,
Because
right?
when read the fucking cue cards, do your fucking job, and they don't shoot old dude in the head.
Right.
yeah.
The people can do whatever. The people can use you as a symbol. That's fine. To me, it's almost you can be a symbol better if they see you more unedited,
Right.
and you get yourself ushered away because you're making poor decisions on a microphone,
Right.
which we do professionally.
Every 2 weeks.
We do this professionally. But for me, I was really unhappy with the fact that she couldn't just swallow her pride, do the job,
Well-
and save lives. And if they want to revolt, when it's enough to make a change, then switch sides.
Yeah, but Michael, how is it going to start if there's not a spark?
But
Put it in post. A spark.
Pa!
That's where the fire paper is supposed
No,
to be.
but it is a good point, like that she wouldn't just kind of go along with it, or at least try to be convincing when Snow is like, I'll kill Prim, I'll kill your mother, I'll kill Liam Hemsworth, I'll kill all of District 12.
Only he gets his actor's name.
And
I don't know his
yeah,
I'll kill
no.
Liam's Gale.
Gale. Oh,
Gale,
sorry.
whatever.
He's such a nothing character again.
First of all, I'm going to see him as a liability, and I'm killing that fucker first. I'm like, no, I'm going to be on TV for a decade, and I'm shooting that asshole.
Okay, but I will say that she said her thing one time, and she wasn't even coming out and being like, we must fight. Like, she wasn't doing that, right? Like,
No.
all she said was what she felt about these two people who she was involved with.
I guess my point is, do the shit on camera, and then you go back to regular ass life where you can talk to the people in your district who will talk to the other people from other districts. I feel like that would have been more effective. Like, hey, when I get back from this, we're going to start a thing. We're going to...
But
gonna
Michael,
rally.
unfortunately, that can't happen because as it is the 75th Quarter Quell, they have to switch up the rules. And so we find out it's the Hunger Games Part 2.
Electric Boogaloo. No.
So she won't be returning home because she's going to the Hunger Games.
Yeah, no. I mean, obviously they show it in the trailer that they're back in the game. So like we knew this was coming, but that would have been such a cool like surprise.
Did you know that it was coming? Did you know they were going to be back in the Hunger Games?
I didn't... Well, I feel like the cover kind of ruined some shit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it would have been a weird story if they did the press tour and everything was fine, and then like
They weren't
nothing
in-
they
Yeah.
weren't in the Hunger
Right.
Games. It's like
Yeah.
now I got to learn 12 other assholes names or 24 other assholes names.
Well, you only have to
and not
learn,
give a shit.
maybe half of them
Now
because
I
the
gotta
other
wa-
half just die day
Right.
one.
Now I gotta watch PETA teach a kid how to throw a medicine ball at
But
us.
this one felt the game maker in the first movie
Yeah.
only
He got-
serves a purpose to have a different mindset for the second game maker in the second
Right.
movie.
Right.
So like the first game maker is like nobody gives a fuck. Company man.
Yeah.
He didn't take any chances and that's what got him killed.
He did take chances on that facial hair, though. Oh my goodness.
That was
crazy,
mostly
like-
drawn on.
Another stupid name. Seneca Crane is that guy's name.
Seneca Crane?
Seneca Crane.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So-
a decent name.
Yeah, he hangs out with Caesar Flickerman.
Yeah. Him and Caesar Flickerman be yanking each other's cranes.
Flickerman.
But it was interesting to see the first game maker didn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Didn't matter. They shot fireballs at people. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
The second one, then towards the end of the film, where they're on the ship at the end or whatever,
Yeah.
and turns out he's working,
Yeah, he's
in
with
whatever. It was like, okay, cool. That's why they spent so much time
On
the
that
second
guy.
on the
Game
second
maker.
game maker.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know his name.
Philip
But
Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great actor. Always just absolutely nails whatever he did.
Yep.
But that was another thing from the first, like not seeing him, and I've seen all the clips on Instagram, stuff like that. So some of this stuff is like now meshing together, and I'm like,
Right.
oh, he got a lot of screen time. He had a lot of FaceTime
Right.
with President Snow.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can see, well, okay, so he would have been part of the puzzle to be able to make a revolution
like
happen.
they wouldn't have put
Right.
a big name actor like that if he wasn't important.
Well, and you can't start a rebellion, I feel like, without the backing of a serious member of government.
You need somebody
Right.
on the inside.
and he was in the room with just the president for
Yeah.
like the whole Hunger Games.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the whole movie.
Which
he's
I
just
thought
hanging out.
that was like tactically that's who you would want, a guy that works for him, that makes him happy and can be candid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find his name. What is it? It's Plutarch Heavensby.
Plutarch.
So I don't know what they just Googled like name randomizer or something.
Oh
And
my god, dude! I said it in our first episode. When in the future do we get these stupid names?
I don't know, but we should probably start doing it now.
When do we go from Paul in Dune to Plutarch?
Well,
Heavensby?
see, it's a big circle, so like the names get weirder, and then they go
Yeah,
back
and
to
then
it
they
the.
get
goes back to
normal.
Paul.
Paul.
So we write stories about names that we don't name,
Yeah.
and then we name the names and stories, and then they write stories about Paul, and then they name a Paul. It's just a big circle.
Oh
Steve.
my god. But yeah, no, I do like
Plutarch,
yeah.
Plutarch.
I do like him in this movie because
Yeah.
he almost seems like he's on their side from the beginning when when they bring Katniss and PETA to the final stop of this thing, and like they meet Plutarch for the first fucking Plutarch. They meet him for the first time.
when they're slow dancing. I'm like, this guy's got something
Yeah.
else on up his
Yeah.
sleeve.
Well, and when he gives like a little bit of dialogue that kind of clues you in, where he's like if you abandon your moral judgment, this party can be fun. So
Right.
he's kind of being like,
You know-
if you
you know-
ignore all the horrors,
he's going to the after party.
Yeah.
He also gives off the vibe of like nice guy. Like you can tell when a character is going to be a villain just simply by the way that they are. You know,
Right.
like you didn't really sense any like
No, and I feel like
evilness in him.
I feel like they
Yeah.
tried to hide that.
yeah, a little.
They tried to mask that a little bit
Right.
because until they were slow dancing at the party at the Capitol, I wasn't
you weren't
aware.
privy to
I was
the
not privy to that information from Plutarch.
But yeah, and like when they actually get into the games, and Snow is constantly meeting with Plutarch. Oh my god, sorry, it's such a stupid name. He and like Snow is even dropping like, hey, we should just kill her now. She's in the Hunger Games. Like, who cares? Just kill her. Like now we can't get blamed.
See,
for
for
it.
me, this part was he was like, I am trying to get the ratings up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in my head, I go, he's doing his job, and then afterwards, I was like, that slick bastard
Yeah,
got
you-
me.
you
They
don't
got
notice
me.
it at
Yeah. So
first.
he keeps like giving out. Well, no. If we kill her now, like, you know, people will rally,
And
or
I
if we
do-
kill her now, like the other tributes will rally.
And like, he's good at his job because the
really
president
good.
was like,
Okay.
you know what?
Yeah.
that sounds like an idea, you know?
Yeah,
That's some
yeah.
grade A shit, motherfucker.
Right?
President Snow out.
And also, he wasn't worried about the other game maker getting killed because
Yeah.
he was ready to die way before he took that job.
Right.
You're probably. I mean, especially if he's been involved with the
Yeah. with
rebellion,
the rebellion.
then yeah, seems
don't
like he
know.
would.
It seems like it's starting to catch fire.
Yeah, be okay with dying.
I know we missed it, so there's no point in going back. But I love when she hangs the dummy in like the training simulation.
I thought that was pretty cool because they and also that brief where the nerdy couple,
yeah.
it was just like she can't even see it. It's like, all right, it's an electromagnetic field, so you can't see it, and taking your glasses off doesn't help vision ever. So I hate that in movies where they're like, I can't see it. Let me take off the things that make me see better. Oh, there it is.
I can't see with these
But-
stupid pieces of glass in my face.
They couldn't.
That's better.
They couldn't not do something because of how impactful her first meeting
Right.
with the ratings committee or whatever they call it is. They-
Ratings committee.
You shut up.
The sponsors.
I'm rooting for the Capitol. Shut the fuck up, Steve. That was cool. That was cool to see that it didn't top it,
Right.
but at the same time, it was like we were expecting her to do something, and that met the criteria.
Yeah,
for sure.
you don't want anything similar. You don't want her trying to shoot the
if
wall again or
if
whatever.
if an arrow would have bounced off, like if no,
They killed one of the tributes.
they do all the time. You know, the camera's with her, and as the arrow flies, it switches to behind the president's head, and then it ricochets off. I would have asked you to pause, and I would have gone home. That's how that would have worked out.
Yeah,
That would have pissed me off so bad.
It's not one of those movies. I feel like they pick and choose their moments
Yeah.
for like shots like that. Like there's not a lot of crazy.
Yeah,
like,
I
over
think
the top
they really
action.
save that for the last part, like for
Yeah.
part two, is where they really dial in on this is an
Um,
action movie.
So, well, I mean, this is a rough way to say it, but I called both black people dying in this movie. The guy getting shot in the head at the meeting,
Yeah.
I called that. And
Me too.
then Lenny.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lenny
just,
Kravitz,
just,
yeah.
just getting the fuck beat out of him while she's in the tube.
Yeah,
I knew that shit was coming. And we didn't have to treat Mr. Kravitz like that.
Yeah, the first time I saw this movie, I was like, I don't know, 15 or whenever these
Yeah.
movies came out. So I was not expecting it, and I was like, oh no.
And then it's never quite comfortable to watch people in riot gear beat a black guy. So
Yeah.
I was just like, oh,
Dude, I will
that's no good.
Just a little backstory for this movie. For the first time I saw it, me and our friend Eric went and saw it at our college, and they did them back to back. It was Hunger Games, then Catching Fire, because I think Mockingjay Part 1 was just coming out. So I'm giving you way too much information. I started taking those SSRIs when we went to go see it. So it got to that part with Lenny Kravitz, and I saw the guys coming in from the back. I started giving myself a panic attack.
They're gonna get me. They're gonna get me. They're gonna get me.
I thought it was like when you're watching like the slasher villain come in from behind, and you're like, oh my god,
It's coming for me.
No, that's actually pretty funny.
I was just
You're
like-
not Lenny Kravitz. They would have
You're
killed you
fine.
off screen.
Yeah, no,
They would have killed you
like,
off screen.
literally,
Steve.
we left the movie, and Eric's like, "Are you okay, dude?" I was like, "I had like 3 panic attacks." in
Like, I
there."
didn't like that at all. That's actually hilarious.
Oh my god, it was so freaking funny.
But it's crazy how they pack so much into this movie, actually, when you think about it,
Right.
because there's the, reintroducing all the characters and going through the tour, and then
Right.
they have to train for the Hunger Games and do the Hunger
And
Games.
they did the I think they did the Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did that a little better
Yes.
in this one, where we were actually given some like when we're in the games now, and douchebag and grandma
Finnick.
yeah,
Finnick.
and they actually like gave us some some actual story during the games, because we didn't get a whole lot of it. Like we understood, like, okay, there's going to be some alliances forming. You either get in good with them or they're all coming for you.
Right.
Yeah.
We understood the stakes. We watched them go around and talk to some people. And it was cool to see not necessarily what the districts thought was important for the games, but the unique skills of the pairs.
Right.
I thought that was neat. And then the trading of information with Katniss and Grandma was like, hey, I'll teach you to hunt if you teach me how to make those hooks.
Right.
And those little details were really cool to see. They did no hunting or fishing during the games, but it was really cool to see that happen,
because it gives you background to some of these characters.
And then when those people fucking died, we gave a shit.
Right.
Yeah, that's why they save those moments for the few characters that they give screen time to.
Yeah.
How many times have we watched movies? I'm about to start yelling. I don't know why. How many times have we've watched movies where they try to make us feel something for a character and they give us jack shit to base it on. And this was, over the course of the Hunger Games, maybe 6 minutes of story. And I was like, fuck yeah, Grandma, run into that poison. You know your role, and we feel for you. It's worth it. Well, rarely are deaths worth it in movies, and where they gave us just a little bit of story, it became worth it.
Well, I don't know if it was worth it because she died to save PETA, so...
But, like...
There's 2 other movies. Don't ruin it for me.
But, no, that is a good point, because, like, they make you care by Finnick protecting her. You make her care... make us care,
and he was
because,
the dickhead, the chauvinistic,
right? And you
peacocking asshole, and you're just like, she better be all right.
And then they make us care because she volunteers for Finnick's girlfriend. Yep. Then you make us care because, like, they give her that little character moment where she's making these fishing lures, so she's a past victor. So you think, oh, she probably won her games by, like, being able to fish.
And like Michael said, she was good looking in her day. You can tell.
Okay, all right.
That's a gilf.
We're gonna put a little asterisk here, and you can skip ahead if you don't want me to talk about, grandmas.
Grannies.
But like, she was one of those women where, with
gilf.
She was able to stealing my thunder, Steve. Something about being able to craft something with her hands at that age means she has done that her whole life, which means those hands do exactly what she wants them to. I feel like you didn't know where I was taking that, and I feel like that was great.
No, I like that.
She knows exactly what those fingers can do. And I would have let her try new things with, Are you
on Granny fans?
Sorry. I don't need to know.
Only grands.
Anyway, shut the
Anyway.
I'm trying to say, even at 83, she can get it, bro. She can get it.
All right.
Only grands.
So she made the fish hooks, and that was really cool.
Yeah, it was great. I was going to make a point.
Sorry.
Steve was just going to be over there. I was going to make a point about Finnick.
Yes.
Because they do set him up to be the asshole character.
Yes.
But at the same time, he has befriended this old lady, so it gives you a little bit of... He's got a little more going on than just...
He's a tender asshole.
Yeah. He puts on a front of being an asshole, but then he actually ends up like coming through a couple times.
I'm actually really excited for you to see like the next parts with him involved, because they reveal more of his backstory.
He gets a bigger role, too.
Yeah, and you kind of understand.
Wait, what are you talking about? He fucking died.
He didn't die. He's on the ship at the end.
Yeah. He
That's
made
right.
it.
No, you're right. You're right.
He made it.
Yeah,
I didn't
Finnick, my
spoil
boy.
anything.
So the games aren't over.
The game's...
Well...
Well, so, okay. I do want to go back to a few cool things about this Hunger Games.
Yeah.
The water. They start them out on water. crazy,
that
never been done before.
I
Whoa.
do like that.
This is only the second Hunger Games, but they did something new.
Did something new.
It's a clock.
And it's also a clock.
TikTok, TikTok.
Yo, that was so wild.
Yeah. There's a couple goofy things with
Yeah.
that. Like the whole mechanism spinning around and everything, where like some people are just like bouncing off of it and they're not dead.
Yeah, because
Like Katniss bounces
Yo,
off
that water,
of the
that water's
rocks.
doing fucking highway speed. You're dying. All of them are dead.
Well,
Like they're getting crushed.
And like
Yeah.
they show you the diagram, there's parts jutting out
Yeah.
from the island. So as it's spinning, you're getting smacked by a
Boom.
fucking rock.
Yeah, and people drown in swimming pools.
Yeah.
But somehow Katniss gets just under those
Yeah,
spinning
I
arms,
guess.
and they're spinning above her, and
Which
she's
doesn't
fine.
move
Oh.
the water underneath it all.
I believe that's
Yeah.
called plot armor.
Yeah. She's got strong plot armor, and so does Peeta. Because oh my goodness, Peeta almost died many times as
lot.
usual.
That that was one thing I expected.
Here we go.
I expected. Now
Yeah.
this is just me in my brain.
All right.
So agree or disagree, either way, whatever. I expected PETA to be much more fucking useful. I expected him to be useful in
Yes.
some aspect, not dead fucking fish weight that has to be dragged through this fucking movie the whole fucking time, Steve. I
The
didn't
whole
mind him.
time.
I didn't mind him in the first movie. I was rooting for the guy.
okay.
And this one, and I'm like, just fucking die because there's people carrying you and you're not a grandma. You're not a grandma and you're having someone else carry you. They
You're
have to
like-
kill a grandma so you can get a piggyback. You baby back bitch.
He's like 18, like prime of
Just
his
able to run flat out for a mile without his heart rate going up, and he's just testosterone out the ass. He thinks he's gonna get laid. Dude can't even jog. He can't even jog, Steve.
Well, just to pick
And your life is on the line, Steve. And he can't jog. All he can do is be a fucking liability. I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you see
I
why we
appreciate
don't
it.
like PETA?
I appreciate it.
Just to piggyback
Thanks for
off
letting me do that.
If they would have gave him like a scene where he has to camouflage one of the fucking contestants, like because they get injured, so they have to hide them.
They didn't even bring
Anything.
his only skill back.
That
Like
was
they
his
brought
own-
everybody's
Dude,
skills
which
back.
was like kind of cool in the first one, but also
Yeah.
like, bro, you hiding in a battle royale. Get your ass out there.
Right. Well,
You
because
can't
they
be camping, bro.
Yeah.
Well, and
You
they
fucking dirty ass camper.
But they bring it up with some of the past victors where Haymitch tells Katniss and Peeta they basically won their games by just
Everybody
hiding.
died.
Yeah. They outlived them, so they won. So like they could have played into that. Like fucking Finnick or the old lady gets her leg broken, so they have to disguise her and like hide her somewhere, and then we'll be like, we'll come back for
Yep.
you. But I guess that wouldn't make sense with the whole clock gimmick in each sec. Anyway,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
talking
fine.
myself out of my own good
Yeah,
point.
yeah. Don't be doing that. But it was frustrating for me to put so much screen time and story and effort into someone who's been through a Hunger Games and was still fucking useless.
He's
Yeah, and
pretty
the only
useless.
kill he gets is off screen underwater.
Yeah,
He does
yeah.
get one kill.
Yeah, and
one
that's
Like
Yeah.
that guy could have
tricky at best. He bumped his head on a rock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
And
like,
he was already halfway
Did
out.
PETA actually take the guy out, or was
Yeah.
it like a?
They should have. I feel like if they would have wanted any credibility with this pussy, they should have showed him.
This bread making bitch.
They should have showed him rise to the occasion
Yeah.
and
had a
prove himself to be someone on that ship, because he got again carried through the 80% of
Yeah.
this fucking thing, and the only smart thing he does is like, we'll go with them and I'll go with them and we'll meet back here and we'll signal if blah blah blah, if something bad happens, blah blah. It's like, okay, he didn't even stand up for himself then.
Right.
He's being carried. He has these skills that we've been shown
Michael,
and shown to work.
not to cut you off from your Peter rant. I have a feeling these next two movies are going to make you just feel so good.
PETA does get a different character arc in the
Yes.
last two.
They give him something to do.
Yeah, this one he did not have
Is
much
it
to do at all.
fucking muffins for the contestants because that's all he's good for.
Well, you know how. Well, I'm not going to say anything about what happens, but
Thank you.
currently he is a prisoner. At the end of this movie,
Yeah.
they said the Capitol took him. He still has his tracking chip in, and they pulled Katniss out instead, which she's apparently upset
She's
about.
so upset about.
She's like, you should have saved Peter. No, you're useful. He's not. They saw the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Which is how the world works, little lady.
Yes.
Get with the fucking program.
But it's one of those things where I think these next two movies will either completely sway your opinion or they will solidify the opinions you're feeling right now.
Yeah. I did also want to say on the Peter rant thing that the number of times that Katniss goes, Peter! Peter! I can't
Yeah,
even do
it's-
that like shrill, like
Yeah.
Like
how
I
does
don't
she
I don't
do that?
I don't understand why she's so worried about this guy like at all.
She gets so worried about
she's
him.
putting in more effort caring about him in the Hunger Games than she did on the fucking train to stop
Right.
her from
Yeah.
going into the Hunger Games.
She didn't even want to have a conversation with him, and now she's like, "Oh my God, Peter! What happened to Peter?" It's like,
Well, it's-
do you care?
It's like
Do you
what the
care?
heck?
Yeah, but
I don't
God,
like
I
him.
hate Peter.
I don't know.
No,
I don't
and I
I have
also,
to watch the other. I have to
Yeah.
watch the
Yeah.
other
You have to
films
see
to
the
get
full
to
thing.
get a
And-
full story. But right now, he's pissing me off.
I'm pretty sure I said this in the last one.
I hope they beat the fuck out of him at the cap. I hope they beat the brakes off this boy.
But I feel so bad again for Liam Hemsworth because he does not get a character in this movie. Like, if you want us to care about this whole love triangle and think Gale has a chance,
You have to
maybe
give him a little
like
chance.
10 minutes of screen time.
Gail's kind of a bitch.
I mean, both guys. I was just saying this to Danielle. Both guys suck.
Her two options are
Like-
terrible.
Like, you know she's going to end up with one of them. I wish she ended up with none of them. Like, she should have just been a strong, independent woman, like, been like, no, fuck both of these guys. They're both petty assholes. I do everything myself. Fuck Peter. All I'm doing is saving his ass every Hunger Games.
All right, save this rant for the last one. Steve.
Yeah. You
When we
you're
get the
getting ahead of
conclusion.
yourself. That's a good point, though. She does show some serious times where she does need a lot of help, though, which is kind of it kind of pissed me off a little bit because, like you were saying earlier, it was like she's this way, then she's that way, then she's this way again, then she's talking about being strong, and then letting emotion get in the way of.
Yeah, it's
while screaming, "Save Peter!"
Right. Like she has those moments that are super emotional out of nowhere, whereas the rest of the time she seems pretty composed and
Yeah, like she either has this cocky attitude where it's like, point me towards him, I'm going to fucking kill him.
Right.
Or
Or
it's, oh my God, Peter, oh fuck,
yeah. So I feel like this one is like the which way is it gonna go with their character?
And I think they were trying to do that on purpose. where
we're
they're-
we're on the teetering edge
Yes.
of the knife, and which way will it fall?
Yeah.
Either way, I'm gonna be unhappy.
Yeah.
Let's
Can't
be
wait.
honest.
No
I'm
matter
a
what
cynical
happens.
bastard.
But
I'm gonna be
are-
unhappy.
I guess to just end this, are you excited to see the next two?
No, I want everybody to fucking die. I'm still rooting. I'm in the Capitol, out here eating cheese and watching TV going, the actors they got this year are not as good.
Well, not to spoil it, but the death toll only rises from
Only
here.
rises.
Well,
it does go
it
up.
has to. They
It
started
only rises.
shooting people point blank in the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna do a little bit of a.
Oh, one thing I did enjoy was then when they tied Gale to the post,
to the post.
and beat the brakes off him.
Dude,
He
Katniss
got-
takes a right hook too.
Yeah,
My God.
well,
Oh, he got whipped like Jesus, man.
Suffer for your Hunger Games sins.
right, from much lesser cause.
Seriously.
they gave him the Passion of the Christ, and Gale had the opportunity to save no one's soul.
None of them.
Except his own.
That's funny.
The only other weird thing about this movie is before the Hunger Games, when they're having a meeting with Haymitch, which, by the way, we didn't talk about Haymitch much. I love him in all of these movies.
Oh, he's my favorite character.
He's great in this one.
Just drunk as shit. I love it.
They're having this meeting with Haymitch, and there's the ladies in the back with the masks on their
yeah.
And Steve informed me.
Oh, yeah. You hear them reference it a few times.
In the book, right?
Well, no, in the movie. They don't tell you what their names are, but like Katniss says it in the first one.
We're talking about the people with the masks on?
With like the weird white wrapping around their face.
Like servants kind of.
Yeah. So you'll meet one of these in the next two.
Why?
I
They're
think.
the help.
But what they are is they're people who like spoke out or did something against the Capitol, so they got their tongues removed. So they're indentured servants that can't talk and can't say no.
Oh, they were literally the help. That's my bad.
Yeah,
my bad.
They're kind of rough.
Yeah. So they
I feel like the book would have gone nuts with that.
Yeah.
In the movie, you can't.
Yeah, you can't go into it.
They've
But
still got to keep it PG-13.
Yeah, right. That's what I was gonna say. These are all PG-13,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Make a rated R version for me.
Yeah, because
I wish it was
Katniss
R.
does reference it in the first one when she's like, "We'll just run away," but they'll probably cut our tongues out or something worse. So that's
the
what
only time they
happens.
reference it.
Yeah,
That's
and then
crazy.
Really? Just
Yeah,
once?
that's it.
And then she's
both
in the
movies.
room with, some of these servants, and she's just sitting having a meal and a conversation, and they're just in the background. Like it feels so like a weird moment. Like especially when you know what it is, you're like, oh my god.
Well, and that's if they kind of just would have gave any sort of dialogue, the character.
Well, they can't speak. They don't have tongues.
Right. Well, the I'm not saying that.
It's a very good point.
The characters they'll introduce in the next movies would have had more of an impact because you're like, holy shit, that's what they went through. Like, and then,
but then there is that of, good storytelling gives you opportunities to look back and change your perspective or add weight to a small interaction, adding weight through development. That's, I mean.
Yeah, it's like that Plutarch scene where he's just like
storyboard 101.
Right. But yeah, no, I mean, as much as we're kind of like talking more on the critique side of it, like I do genuinely enjoy this one, just like action wise,
I didn't,
like character wise.
I feel like I should explain myself a little bit of why I haven't seen them. It was just like, oh, these are gonna be some bullshit,
like cheesy
fairy ass movies.
You expect them to be like teen love stories,
and I was like, I guess in my head, they were in the same category as Twilight.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
but
I can see
they came out around the same time.
Yeah, so that's what was going on, and I'm just like, well, I was forced to watch a Twilight movie. Nobody's making me watch these. Fuck you.
Right.
And then now, I mean, how many? When did these come out?
Hold on, I have it pulled up.
Steve will pull it up. Yeah, I was gonna say that.
It's just early.
This
teens?
was 2013.
2013, early teens. Okay.
Yeah.
So I definitely had seen enough of Twilight to be like, no.
Yeah, but see where that is like fantasy, romance.
Right.
This is more sci-fi.
Well, I'm explaining my view. It's
yes.
That's what I thought they were going to be. And then we were like, let's do those. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, Michael. It's every film in the book.
Right.
And then I watched it and I was like, shit, these aren't
Kinda
that bad.
cool.
This is kind of cool.
Yeah, no, well,
also, this would have been a great fucking time.
Yeah, I was the same way when Danielle was like, "Oh, we should watch all the Hunger Games movies." I was like, I don't want to fucking watch them. I'm like,
they're good
I'm
movies.
like, this has got to be silly. And then like after I sat and watched them for the first time, like I was like, whatever, Katniss, fucking PETA. And then I watched them all again, and I was like, all right, these are pretty fucking.
But for the record, I supported the decision to do these for the podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
And I will say, my seal of approval is golden. If I recommend a movie, it's a good movie.
It's probably ass.
I don't go around recommending anything, okay?
She does hate a lot of things.
Steve and I will give you a 400, list of movies
They're like,
you
what
have
movie
to
should I
watch.
check out? Steve will have like 10 pages.
I
I will have
Excel
like
sheet.
a handful.
I will sit you down, look you dead in the eyes, and say, "Zombievers is the greatest movie ever made."
He will.
Yeah.
He'll say that about oh my God, what is the one that you love? The horror movie, the Wishmaster.
Oh, Wishmaster.
Run and tell
Those terrible movies.
First of all, that's not a real opinion. Those are great.
What does that wish?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Dude,
We're never doing
He
it.
gives the guy instant cancer, and he just crumples. Oh, I love it.
yeah.
But we're over here catching fire.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
I'm so excited for these
yeah,
next ones.
I
We're
am
gonna
excited.
do the last two, so buckle up.
I'm correct. We haven't even decided the format of if we're gonna try to do them all at once.
Yeah.
If we're gonna split it up. If it's too. If we watch them.
Yeah, well, we were joking around with it where we were like, man, wasn't it so annoying back in like 2014 where every saga ending got broken into 2 parts? So like, what if we're just not annoying and keep it all as 1 part?
Okay.
Or what if we're just as annoying and break it
Right.
into 2
So
parts?
we've got some serious decisions to make
Yeah.
as
Think
we go
about
through
this.
this series, but honestly, I think it's going to depend more.
It's going to depend.
I think we should watch both and then start and see what happens.
Right. And then maybe we'll have to break it into a part 2.
Just end the conversation. All right, check us out.
Yeah,
in part
cut
2.
to black. Fuck it.
Yeah, we'll see, but definitely join us as we continue going on this absolute thrill ride
Whoop, whoop.
Hell yeah.
of love and hate and death and rebirth and
Sorry, I had to do the whistle at least once.
To end out. Good night, Panem.
that. I like Danielle's better.
Yeah,
yeah.
just better.
Let's not do that.
See you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.